Principles means, see, generally, as we say, a friend in need is a friend indeed. So now our choices have consequences. For Hanuman, that meant if he would go with Sugriv, Vali would always permanently blacklist him. When Vali would send people to assassinate Sugriv, if Hanuman came in the way, Hanuman would also not be spared. So it is a heavy cost to pay. It's a heavy, heavy price to pay for him to make that choice to go with Sugriv instead of going with Vali. So this itself shows, see, if somebody is very powerful, somebody takes on, say, the mafia, but they are surrounded by high security guards and everything, okay, you can take on the mafia there. It still requires courage, but actually at that time you have protection. But here what happens is he chooses Sugriv's side and he has no idea how long he will have to stay practically in exile. Just as Lakshman had no obligation to go with Ram when he went to the forest. Similarly, Hanuman had no obligation to go with Sugriv. In fact, we could say that at least Lakshman was a brother. So brothers might want to stick with the brother. Now, Hanuman and Sugriv had no relationship. No blood relationship at least. Beyond that, Bharat was not trying to constantly assassinate Ram. So that choice of Lakshman going with Ram meant a sacrifice. But it was not that because of that choice he would be persecuted. So Hanuman, it was principles, because his principles, he paid a heavy price. And that itself shows the opposite of having principles is being expedient. Expedient means whatever the easiest thing, you do that. Whatever is convenient, you do that. Some people are like chameleons. With one person they speak one thing, with another person they speak another thing. Whatever will please that group, they will speak that. But here itself, Hanuman has made a very, very serious choice. And that too, if you see, he doesn't have power. If he had his powers, then he could have countered Vali itself. But at this point, he does not have powers. So to stick to principles without powers, that's actually a very heavy price to pay. That itself is a sign that he is no longer impulsive. An impulsive person, a short-sighted person, an immature person would not make such a choice. And even if that person made such a choice, they would not stick to this. They say, oh, this is too much. I'll go back. He'll go and apologize to Vali and make it good with Vali. He doesn't do that. Then after that, then what is seen is his speech. The first meeting that is there between Hanuman and Ram. So Ram and Lakshmana are walking through the forest and Hanuman comes in the garb of a Brahmana. The Sugriva has told him, check out what's there over there. So Sugriva has become super suspicious. So anybody who comes in is very suspicious of that person. So when he sees Ram and Lakshman going through the forest and in the Kishkinda area, and Ram is lamenting, will we ever find Sita? It's so long now. God, who knows what has happened to her? And he is crying. Sugriva becomes alarmed and he runs to his associates. And they peer through and Jambavan said, what is there to be alarmed about? These are just two hermits. He says, no, but they're not hermits. If they were hermits, why are they carrying weapons? And look at their physique. It's not like that of a sage. So he's suspicious. And he says, if they had come to assassinate you, they would have come discreetly. Assassin doesn't come making a loud noise. But what are they doing over here? Who are they? So they depute Hanuman. And Hanuman changes his form and goes. Now it's interesting. He has not lost all his power. So he's able to have some of his powers. And he's able to change his form. But then when he starts speaking, his speech, he just greets Ram and Lakshman. And we all have our own natural voice. And sometimes there is this fingerprint analysis we do for identifying a person. Nowadays it's called voice print. We can try to mimic other people's voices, but we can't change our natural voice too much. Sometimes people can, nowadays there are voice changer apps by which you can try to mask our voice. But our voice is what it is. So some people just have such a sweet voice. About Krishna, the gopis in the Gopi Gita describe, Madhuraya gira valguvakyaya. They say your voice itself is sweet and your words are also so endearing. Now some people may have a sweet voice and they speak very harshly with the sweet voice. You know, it's terrible. Now some people may not have a very sweet voice. Some people have a little bit of raspy voice. But what they speak with that will be very pleasing. They are very encouraging. They are very appreciative. So now with respect to communication, there are these two things. There is our voice and there is our words. So now the best is if our voice is sweet and our words are pleasing. Our voice can be harsh or our voice can be gruff or rough or raspy or whatever word you want to use. And our words can be agitating. So now, for a communicator, what is the best to be in among these four quadrants? Fourth, yes. If you have a sweet voice and you have pleasing words that you speak. So they say about a diplomat. A diplomat is a person who lies abroad for the good of their country. You know, lies abroad. So stays abroad, but also has to lie abroad. And to be diplomatic means what? If a diplomat says yes, he means maybe. If a diplomat says maybe, they mean no. And if diplomat says no, that means he is no diplomat. So, the ideal situation is where the speech is, the words are pleasing and the voice is also very sweet. Sometimes some people, when they have this combination, we might come with an agitated mind, but if the person starts speaking, just calm down and listen. Like babies, if they're restless, mothers sometimes sing a lullaby. So the idea lullaby itself has a soft, soothing tone to it. And mothers, when they're singing with love, that also has a sweetness to it. So the baby becomes peaceful and goes to sleep. So like that, now for adults, we don't sing a lullaby for them, but the idea is our mind can get agitated and somebody speaks very sweetly and pleasingly, then the mind becomes peaceful. So here Hanuman exhibits this quality. That Ram is agitated because he feels a personal sense of failure. You know, Sita came out of her faithfulness to me and I couldn't protect her. Lakshman also feels guilty, but after all, she's his wife. Ram feels the primary responsibility. And when he's feeling this, he thinks, so long we're not able to find what is going to happen. And just when Hanuman starts speaking, it's not that Hanuman speaks any profound words of wisdom. Just the speech of Hanuman. Ram turns toward Lakshman and says, surely this person must be learned of all the Vedas. Surely this person must be trained by the greatest of sages. Surely this person must have done some great punya in a previous life. Surely this person must have been brought up by cultured parents. He infers all that from what is spoken. So this capacity to speak in a sweet and pleasing way is also a sign of maturity. So what has happened? Hanuman is not as impulsive. He doesn't blow up his cover. He doesn't confront, who are you? He is, according to time, place, circumstance, behaving in a very appropriate way. What you mentioned about social awareness, that is being depicted over here. So that also shows Hanuman's maturity. Now, just to complete these four quadrants. Sometimes now, we really can't control our voice. We can to some extent, but not much. So we may not be able to always have a sweet voice, but we can always, from wherever we are, we can move. If we can move in this quadrant, that is the best. But if that is not in our control, if we can have our words pleasing and our voice sweet, that is the best. But if we can't, this is the best, but going at least second best. Let's not speak in ways that agitates others. Some people think that as a sign of their cleverness. They are sarcastic and they are. There is a time and place for sarcasm. But on a habitual level, being insulting, using bad names to call others, and making snide remarks about others, that is just agitating speech. And especially nowadays with social media available, one person's agitating speech can agitate hundreds and thousands and millions of people. So we need to be careful. This is the second sign of Hanuman's maturity, the speech that he speaks. And just by that speech, he helps in the forming of an alliance. An alliance means Sugriv and Ram become friends. So if somebody is playing a particular role, they need to play that role well. So Hanuman has his own relationship with Ram, which will manifest in due course. But at this point, what he does is, he shows he is able to do the job that he is sent to do, and he does it well. By his sweet speech, he pacifies Ram. He connects with Ram and helps build a bridge so that Ram and Sugriv can form a relationship. So his speech forms a bridge. He's on the side of Sugriv at this point, a bridge between Sugriv and Ram. So that is what is formed by his speech. Now after that, the third stage is that he is also able to go back to the kingdom after Vali is killed. Now Sugriv goes back to the kingdom, and what happens to Sugriv? Sugriv has been in a zone with no Wi-Fi for many years. And suddenly he gets full Wi-Fi and he goes on a Netflix binge. He goes on a complete Netflix binge, forgetting everything else. Sarva dharman parityajya mayam ekam sharanam vraja. He just, there all kinds of royal pleasures are available to him, and he just loses himself in that completely. Now, Hanuman has also been living in austerity. Living in austerity and in fear. Hanuman doesn't have so much fear himself, but fear of her Sugriv's safety is there. Hanuman doesn't get drunk. Hanuman doesn't get intoxicated. Hanuman stays sober, and when the 4 months of Chaturmasya get over, he reminds whom? Sugriv. So we discussed that earlier, that he cautions. He doesn't he cautions Sugriv. So this is again the opposite of impulsiveness. So he's showing his maturity, that he's aware that this is like we talk about responsibility. Responsibility means being aware what needs to be done when. So that is also a sign of responsibility. Now he does it in a very appropriate way. Actually, Sugriv's character itself is very interesting, and in many ways that is a separate subject. Sugriv is first told by Hanuman. Now, although later on Hanuman will be seen to be much more powerful, at this point, Hanuman is an assistant or a minister of Sugriv. So he is subordinate to him. Now, after that, Tara warns him. Now, Tara is in a peculiar position that she is been Sugriv's brother's wife. But when Vali passed away, Vali told him that you should stay in his shelter. So in that culture, the Vanaras had their own culture, that it was accepted. So she was like a senior to him, in the sense that she had certain position, and Vali had also told him, listen to Tara, she's very wise. I didn't listen to her, and I suffered because of that, but you should listen to her. Tara warns him. And then Lakshman comes. Now, Hanuman, according to his position, is gently cautioning him. Tara is a little more blunt. And when Lakshman comes, Lakshman is super blunt. Or you could say super sharp in what he speaks. And then Sugriva is jolted out of his complacency. And then Sugriva takes on responsibility thereafter. But just being aware of the responsibility. Now, after this, then comes the next thing. So this is at this particular point when they are about to go on a search, on the search for Sita. So this is the last part. This is fascinating, and we could have a whole session on this, but I'll just explain this here. There is, you could say, there is influence without position. This is what Hanuman demonstrates over here. If somebody is appointed the leader of a particular group, then they have the position. Then also they have to get people to work with them. But if you are the boss, if you are the boss in a company, if people don't listen to you, you can just fire them. But if you're just one of the members in the team, but you have some good ideas, now to get others to go along with your ideas is not that easy, isn't it? So if we don't have position, and at that time we have to get things done, not just from ourselves, but from our peers and even our seniors. That's not easy. So this is what Hanuman really, this is where the Sundarkand begins, when Lord Ram sends the whole team to go in search of Sita. But it's interesting that Sugriv appoints whom as the leader of that group? No. Angad. Angad is appointed as the leader of the group. We'll talk about that. At the same time, now, see, his aspect of majesty, it's a very interesting group over there. Now, Angad is the leader of the group. But Angad is neither the oldest nor the strongest. Angad is appointed because there is still some tension between Angad and Sugriv. Now, Wali told Angad, don't blame Sugriv for my death. It was my own deed that led to his death. But Angad was just a young, he was from our perspective, would be a little in the late teens. He was a young adult. And suddenly he saw his father, who was a king, one day just comes out and is killed. And he understands that Ram is not responsible. But there is some tension between him and Sugriv. So now if we are working in a team, or we are working in a company, and we have our boss, and the boss has his boss, or her boss, whoever it is. And if we know that we are accountable to this boss also, but we are accountable to that boss also, and there's a tension between the two of them, then it's very difficult to manage that. And who do we listen to? We don't want to annoy or anger our immediate boss, but in doing something that our immediate boss wants, we don't want to anger our bigger boss also. So here, Angad, he is dutiful. So Angad, what happens is that Sugriv also wants to win Angad over. Sugriv doesn't celebrate when Wali is killed. Sugriv regrets it. Sugriv says, oh, my brother could have killed me any time, but he didn't. And as soon as I got the first opportunity, I killed him. What a wretch I am. I don't deserve the kingdom. So that is a very painful scene over there. But then Ram tells him, this was what Wali wanted. This is your duty. You should become the king now. So now Sugriv wants to make overtures to Angad. And the Sugriv makes Angad the leader of the team. Now Lord Ram recognizes that Hanuman is special. That's why he calls Hanuman and he gives him a special ring. That he says, if you find Sita, show her this. That's how he will know that. She will know that you have come from me itself. And he tells a confidential story also to Hanuman. So at this particular point, when they are going, initially they are very enthusiastic. Yes, going out, we're going to find Sita. And this is the group in which Angad is there, Hanuman is there, and there's one more senior person. Who is that? Oh wow. Yeah? Jambo. Oh. Yeah, all kinds of adventures. This also going to change. He's got a new device. I'm also learning how this works. Now, Jambavan has been far more powerful, but now he is aging. So he's not that powerful now. There are two characters in the Ramayana who are actually confronted by the problem of aging. When I speak to people who are a little older, I talk about this. One is Jatayu and other is Jambavan. And both of them are affected. Their names are from Ja, and they're also affected by what in Sanskrit is called as Jara. Jara is old age. So how they deal with it? It's a challenge. But at this particular point, when they go out search, they are enthusiastic initially. But then things start going south. Just not able to find Sita anywhere. And then groups start forming. If any teamwork is to be done, if there's a cricket team is there, then maybe around the captain a group forms, around the vice captain a group forms. And sometimes the tensions between the two can rip the team apart. So like that, tensions start forming. See, tensions, if we are winning, the tensions are not so much seen. But we start losing, then who is blamed for the loss? Who should be blamed for the loss? That's when the tensions start surfacing and they start escalating. So here, Hanuman slowly starts taking leadership without threatening Angad, without undermining Angad, without sidelining Angad, just organically starts taking leadership. So they are searching, they go into the heartland of southern India. In the middle, it's very, very hot, and they're searching. Not only they don't even find Sita, they can't even find any food. They can't find any water. And they're starving. And then they're searching around. Suddenly Hanuman notices that there's a cave, and from a cave, a bird is flying out. And when the bird is flying out, its wings are dripping water. So then Hanuman points it out, and they all go in that direction. Now they'll peer into the cave. These are vanaras. They can get a sense of what's happening over here. They say, this is a very dark cave, and how long it is, nobody knows. So Hanuman suggests that let us all form one line and let each vanara hold on to the next vanara before and after. So that none of this will get lost. Let us go in. And then Angad wants to lead, but he doesn't have really much experience. When his father was the king, his father was so powerful that Angad really didn't have to fight any major wars. He's heroic, but he doesn't have experience. And Angad agrees. So Hanuman does it very discreetly. And there's a whole story of how they go inside this cave. And there's the celestial lady Swayamprabha. She offers all kinds of foods and drinks. And she says, you just stay comfortably over here. He says, no, we need to go. Swayamprabha said that this is been arranged by Indra. And he has arranged in such a way that anybody who has come into this cave, they can never go out. And Angad starts getting angry. Tell us how to get out, otherwise I'll destroy you. And Jambavan gently calms Angad. Sorry, Hanuman calms Angad, and Hanuman says, wait. Says, we mean no harm. I'm sure Indra must have had some purpose in that, giving that boon. He says, yes. He says he had created a lot of opulence over there, and he didn't want that opulence to be plundered. So anybody who comes in, they cannot go out. But he said, we saw this bird flying out. Yes, the bird does not destroy the opulence over here. The bird will not bring other birds who will destroy the opulence over here. He says, we also do not want to destroy any opulence. We don't want to plunder anything from here. You just want to serve Lord Ram. But nobody who comes in can ever go out. Then Angad is getting angry. And Hanuman comes in and says, but I'm sure, you have the power to go out. You please take us out. So Hanuman here maintains his cool. And what happens is here, in this particular situation, if we go back, he is naturally taking leadership. Wait, graph go. Yeah. So he cautions Sugriva, and then he keeps his cool. So there's a provocative situation. He could have got angry. He could have got angry with Swayamprabha, or he could have got angry with Angada. But he doesn't get angry with either of them. Both with Swayamprabha and with Angada, he keeps his cool. And then Swayamprabha takes them out. And they come out, and then they are searching. And she says, you will soon find, you will come across the ocean, and across the ocean, you will find Sita. And the Vanaras become jubilant. This is a whole search for Sita is a high octane ride. That means there are a lot of emotions. At one moment there is hopelessness and despair, there's starvation, and another moment there's excitement and jubilation. And then the Vanaras, they charge toward the ocean. So they are actually in a mountain. So Swayamprabha not only gets them out of the cave, but she gets them out of the cave on the side of the river. So side of the ocean. So that now they don't have to scale the entire mountain. They charge ahead. And when they charge ahead, at that time they say, oh, across the ocean Sita will find her. But then they come charging to the ocean. And then they stop. Wow. How are we going to, this ocean is so big. How are we going to cross the ocean? Their mouths, they're jubilant and their mouths shut, their eyes become droop, and they're just completely confused. And it is this time that Jambavan speaks to Hanuman. But before that, we'll talk that in the next session. But before that, one more thing happens. Actually, they come out of the cave and they start searching. They start moving toward the ocean. They're looking around the ocean to try to find out how will we get across. And they just can't find. So it's not Swayamprabha who tells them. They know that across the ocean you will find. That's what has happened. They also known that Ravan stays across the ocean. So they have that sense. But they just can't see any way to go ahead. And the ocean is so big, they just don't know what to do. And again, their spirits start dimming. And this time, Angad just loses it. And Angad says, better we never go back. So, Sugriv, see, there are different ways of administering justice. There are different ways of administering justice, and for that matter, enforcing discipline and compliance. So one of the things that he has told Sugriv, so one of the things Sugriv has told is, all the Vanaras should come back within 1 month. He said, anybody who delays returning beyond 1 month, they will be executed. That's so harsh. Why executed? See, this is a serious and time-bound mission. Now Angad takes that. And Angad says, we have been searching for Sita. Now what has happened is, they have been searching for more than a month. And they have not found Sita. And already 2 opinions are formed. Should we keep searching? Should we go back? Now Hanuman is of the opinion that we should keep searching. Some other one is of the opinion we should go back. And now Angada, he says, one of the Vanaras on Angada's side, he says that we should not go back. He says that actually, if we go back, then Sugri will have us executed. Then one of the Vanaras, who is more on Hanuman's side, he says that no, Sugriva is a fair person. He would not do that. We tell him that we were actually searching for Sita and we got some clues, that's why we kept searching. Okay, so then Angad speaks. Angad says, Sugriva had his own brother killed. So now he killed his own, one who killed his own brother. Why would he spare an ordinary soldier? Now, in the terms of war, this is called as sedition. Sedition is what? You inspire rebellion against your boss, against your authority. So, sedition, it could also be called as treason. Treason is where you go against your own authority. Now, Hanuman could have taken Angad to task. Now, how dare you speak like this about your king? You are saying your king is cruel? You are going against your king. This is a punishable crime. But Hanuman does not do that. Hanuman understands that Angad does not have a bad heart. Angad is just frustrated. He has lost his father. He has been given an opportunity to prove his mettle. And the challenge is so much, he is not able to do it. So what Hanuman does over here is, this is where the maturity is shown is, he shows empathy over here. He does not judge or condemn Angada. He just keeps his calm. And one of the Vanaras from Angad's side says that maybe we should go back into the cave of Swayamprabha and we'll hide there and we'll live there forever. Swayamprabha already had said we can stay over there. So now one of the Vanaras on Hanuman's side says that, if you anger Sugriv, he will not spare us. He will find us and he will punish us. And then Angad's side, one Vanara says, that's what I was telling. He's a cruel person. And then while this fight is going on, finally, Angad says, we have just failed. Let's accept it. He says, rather than going back and being humiliated in front of our family and friends, he says, better that we die over here. And Angad sits down. He says, I'm going to fast to death. And he says, I'll do what that is called as a Praya Vrata. Praya Vrata, it is very different. There is, have any of you heard this word? It's something unfortunately not uncommon in today's world. But everything in this world can be in the three modes. So Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So now suicide itself, we may say it's tamasic, and it is. But somebody, they fast to death. That is considered a sattvic way of ending one's life. That is called as Prayavrata. Prayavrata means that one just decides that my life is enough now, I don't want to live anymore. So they decide to abstain from food, abstain from drink, and then the body lives on as long it lives on, and it ends the life. So that's a respected way of ending the life. And many sages would do that. So that is basically what he says. Now, Angada says, this is what I'm going to do. Now, as contrasted with that, most suicide is tamasic. This is basically because of hopelessness. That it is not only life is terrible, it's I am no good. Generally, if we will all face loss in our life, that is just inevitable. Now, when we face loss, if you're in Sattva Guna, we'll understand, I have lost. That's a reasonable, okay, I tried to get this interview, I tried to get this job, I tried to get this into this college, it didn't work out. If I'm in Rajaguna, somebody might say, I am lost. I am lost means I just don't know what to do. I spent so much time and energy in this particular thing. I am lost now. But somebody in Tamoguna, they'll process that same thing as I am a loser. So they will take that failure too personally. And that failure will become a part of their self-definition. I am a loser. And now what happens is if we are in a relationship with someone and if you start thinking that person is a loser, then we would want to end that relationship. I don't want to stay in a relationship with a person who is a loser. We want to break up. But if we think I am a loser, what are we going to do? No, we can't break up with ourselves. Or can we? So suicide is actually a tragic way to try to break up with oneself. So now Sugriv, while Angad is expressing anger at Sugriv, it is basically he is hurt. So as they say, I've heard it, hurt people. Hurt people who are hurt others. So the harsh words spoken towards Sugriv by Angad, they are not coming from a malicious heart. They are coming from a hurt heart. So Hanuman understands this. But even this is beyond his power. Because Angad, he says, no. There are three options now for them. Either they keep searching, or four options. Either they keep searching, but they don't know how to search. Because how far will they go? Where will they go? How will they cross the ocean? That's one thing. Second is that they just stay over there. That's not an option. They go into Swayamprabha's cave. That's not really a good option. They go back. Angad doesn't want to do that. It's a difficult decision. And Hanuman is not the team leader. So the Vanaras split into a group. And some of the Vanaras sit down. And they say, we are going to fast. These are supporters of Angada. And they say, we'll fast to death. And when they say this, a pall of gloom settles over everyone. The Vanaras who are decide not to fast also, they also don't know what to do now. We are already, as a whole team, we were not able to search and find. If our team depletes to half, what is the chance that we will find even now? So when they are sitting, Angada starts lamenting. And Angada, he speaks, alas, we went on this mission to serve Lord Ram. But just as that heroic Jambavan failed, we too are destined to fail. Now when he speaks this at a particular juncture. What happens is, they are sitting for fasting to death, and then a giant vulture comes over there. That vulture is Sampati. Sampati is Jatayu's brother. And that vulture comes along and vulture starts looking, and you can see the vulture licking its lips. So, oh, today I am going to feast. Now the Vanaras are ready to die, but it's one thing to be ready to die, it's another thing to know that we'll be ripped into pieces and eaten up. A person who dies, at least they hope for a dignified burial or a dignified cremation. So, so what happens is that seeing this, they just get unnerved. And that's when Angada speaks. Alas, we are meant to fail. And that giant vulture who is walking around them, licking his lips, suddenly freezes. He says, what did you say? What did you say happened to Jatayu? And then the monkeys are surprised. What happened? And then at that time, he says, I am Jatayu's brother. And please pray, tell me, has something happened to Jatayu? I have not seen my dear brother for many years. And that's when he's told, Angada speaks, Hanuman speaks, and they tell the story. So Sampati is shattered by that. But then Angada and Hanuman are still thinking. See, Hanuman has not antagonized Angada, and nor has Hanuman spoken strongly. So Angada still has a heart that wants to serve. So Angada starts thinking that the Sampati is completely dejected. He says, please, I can't move. My wings got burned long ago. It is a longer story. He says, I just want to offer some water for my brother. can you take me to the coast? And they help him go to the coast. He offers water. They can see he's very, very shaken by this. And then Angada says, Jatayu, he sacrificed his life in search for Sita. And the Sampati is lamenting. I couldn't do anything for my brother, but I can't do anything to get back at the person who killed my brother also. Because I don't have any wings. And suddenly Angada thinks, he says, actually, he says, I believe you have very sharp vision. Do you know where Sita is? Did you see Ravan taking Sita? He says, yes. He perks up immediately. And he raises himself to his full height and he says, yes, although my body has weakened, my eyes are still strong. And I can see that Ravan still has Sita with him across the ocean in Lanka. And I can see that you will soon find him. So what happens, it's like this is what is called as serendipity, something accidental discovery. So the Vanaras are about to give up hope. At that time, the Sampati comes to eat it, that's terrible. But then Sampati comes to eat them, at that time Angada just speaks some words. And those words lead to a transformation. And then they find the way ahead. So while Angada has lost hope, Angada has not been embittered by Hanuman or anyone else. So Angada has some hope, some desire that I can serve. And then the opportunity comes up. So Hanuman's empathy plays a significant role over here. And then comes the time when Hanuman comes into his full prime. So here, till now, he's one among the Vanaras. Slowly, he is showing his leadership skills. But then from that, now when he goes across the ocean, it will be like a solo performance for him. One-man performance that will be showing. So that is where, but this particular point, through all these dangers, how Hanuman has navigated expertly shows his maturity. And thus Jambavan is reminded, and Jambavan will remind Hanuman of his great powers. That we'll discuss in the next session. So I'll summarize what we discussed today. We are discussing Hanuman's life story. So I first set the scene, or in what way we are discussing it. I said the acronym, does anyone remember the acronym LEAD? L was literal, ethical, allegorical, and devotional. So we are discussing from which perspective? Ethical perspective. Ethical means it's a guide for decision making. And in that, a person's life story can conveyed with 4 C's. What are the 4 C's? Choices, consequences, and the choices happen because of conditions and conditionings. So if we look at these 4 things, then we can understand the character of the character. What is the substance of the person? Then we started discussing Hanuman's story. And then we look at this story, there are similarities and there are dissimilarities. It's dissimilar in terms of the ability and the arena. Arena is where the incident is happening. But it's similar in terms of that everybody has limitations in their life. And they have to live within the limitations. And then there are accountability in the sense that everybody does actions for which there are consequences. The exact consequences may not come immediately and they may not come in the same way that we face them. But that principle is there. So within that, how they make choices. So we discussed about Hanuman, how he was given, he had ability and he had to develop maturity. So initially Hanuman was in this quadrant 1. And that's when he was mischievous and that's why he was cursed. Not exactly a curse, but it was just a forgetting of his abilities. So today what we discussed was Hanuman's journey from quadrant 1 to quadrant 4. So journey from immaturity to maturity. So Hanuman as a child and Hanuman as an adult. And within that journey to maturity, we discussed 5 stages. The first was his living according to his principles. Okay, Sugriv was not wrong. Wali was wrong. So principles are easy to follow when there is no price to pay. But when the principles come with a heavy price, that shows a deep level of maturity. Then was his speech. The way he helped form a bridge between Ram and Sugriv, and the way he very manifested speech that is both sweet in tone or sweet in voice and endearing in words. The voice and words. So Ram is very pleased by his speech. And after that, he exhibits his caution. He warns Sugriv about his duty to Ram. And then finally, we discuss about two incidents where he shows leadership without position. That he doesn't have the official position of the leader, but still, one is Swayam Prabha. What does he show in that cave? He says, stay cool. Amid provocation, stays cool with everyone over there. Swayam Prabha also, with Angad also. And finally, when Angad starts speaking bad things about Sugriv, he doesn't get on his case. He has empathy. He understands that he's hurting. And in this way, in all these ways, when he shows maturity, then the time comes for him to regain his ability. It says, the Mahavir Hanuman, that will manifest in the Sundarkand and take over the narrative of the Ramayana practically for that particular story. That Hanuman is going to soon manifest. So let us all pray to Hanumanji that just he is eternally a liberated soul, but just as through his journey, just as you manifest, Hanumanji, the journey to maturity, help us all become mature so that we can also use the ability that we have fully, so that we may also be blessed with more ability, so that we can do more service and make more of a positive difference in our own lives and the lives of those around us. Shri Hanuman Ji ki, Shri Hanuman Jayanti Mahamahotsav ki jai. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? There are some questions here, no? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhu, for your talk today. I wondered if you might speak on the journey to maturity as a teacher. I see a lot of moments that you mentioned with Hanuman's journey in his own learning, and I was really curious to hear maybe like a short reflection just about a teaching incident or experience where you could share with us that was a moment that repeated and you realized, oh, I'm doing this in a more mature way or something.
Okay, so you're asking whether the time when I noticed something about my own journey towards maturity. Yeah. I'd say that, as we grow, we also start, one aspect of maturity is that we understand what really matters. So, once I was giving a class in Pune, and somebody asked a question that I felt was a bit arrogant. And I gave a sharp answer. My answer was logical. This person was something like, I felt clearly he was a completely anti-feminist, like a completely aggressive feminist. And he says, all these Hindus, this Hindu religion itself is against women. And he said, that's why we don't celebrate Radhashtami, we only celebrate Janmashtami. That's why we don't celebrate Sita's festival a long way. We only celebrate only Ram's festival. So I said, okay, Janmashtami is for one day. Durga Puja is for 9 days. Isn't it? Which other deity has a celebration for 9 days? Even Diwali is not for 9 days. So everyone clapped. And I was also happy with the clap. But then afterwards, there's one devotee friend, he had brought this friend. And this person, he felt very insulted. And he said, I'm never going to come back to the temple. So now I was just interested in giving a sharp answer. And I would say that my answer was not wrong in the content, but the way I spoke it, and not just the way I spoke it, the way everyone responded to it. And then I was thinking, okay, how clever I am. I gave the same answer. I gave such a clever answer. But then, many years later, something similar happened. Hmm. Then, it was actually similar, exactly the same question came up. This is a common question. It's like, if we try to apply today's values to the past, then nobody will stand according to today's values. People live with a different system of values over there. So the feminist angle, applying it, the concerns are valid, but nobody is saying that we have to go back to the past now in today's world. So, but this critique is there, can apply to any religion, any tradition, any thought system. That's just there. So anyway, so the same question came up again once, and I gave the same answer, but my first thought was that I don't want this person to be hurt. So I said, yeah, that's an important question. And it is unfortunately true that there are times when there's discrimination or there's exploitation, gender discrimination, exploitation is there. And sometimes it's justified in the name of religion. At the same time, it's very questionable whether, I have my doubts whether this is the reason for that. And then I said the same thing, that there's 9 days, Durga Puja is there. And then everyone started clapping. And I says, don't clap over here. He says, I'm not here to score brownie points. I'm here to actually have a discussion. And then afterward, that person came and talked with me, and we had a nice discussion. He was he had grown up in a family where there was domestic violence, and the father was quite abusive. And it was all justified in the name of religion. It was a very complex situation. And then I realized at that time, everybody had laughed or made fun of him. He would have been really hurt and damaged by that time. So I talked with him, and then I gave various examples of how protection is such an important thing in our tradition. So when Draupadi was dishonored, a whole war was fought for that. So it's not a small thing, that this kind of violence. So anyway, my point is that one way I have recognized maturity is that it's not just showing how clever you are. It is trying to help the person who's asking a question or person who's there to try to get a better understanding. Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, quickly.
I'm not sure if I'm asking the right question. Did Rama had limitations?
Did Rama?
Had limitations?
Did Rama have limitations? Well, he is God, so he does not have limitations. But when he comes in this world and performs Leela, he often acts like a human being. So that means he does not always exhibit his omnipotence. So when I was telling the story of Sita being abducted, and we know the story of how Maricha, as a deer, he took Ram far away. And then when Ram's arrow hit him, he screamed in the voice of Ram. So I was telling the story in Texas, and one boy asked this question. When Maricha screamed, Lakshman, Sita, why didn't Ram scream? That's not me, that's Maricha. The whole problem could have been avoided. But the point is that Ram is playing Narleela. Narleela means he's a human being. He is acting, not a human being, he's acting like a human being. And within the cosmic hierarchy, the Rakshasas are physically more powerful than the Manavas. The Devatas are even more powerful, but the Rakshas Devatas are more a similar power. Devatas have slightly more power. So the Rakshasa's voice was much bigger than the Manava's voice. That's why Ram's calling out would not have reached across the distance. So Lord Ram does not have limitations, but when he comes in this world, he acts within limitations. He does not act omnipotent or omniscient all the time. And especially in the Valmiki Ramayana, Lord Ram's divinity is substantially downplayed. Because the Valmiki Ramayana's emphasis is more on doing the right thing, on understanding who's the ideal person who does the right thing. And if you are God, then you are all powerful. They can always do the right thing, isn't it? So that does not emphasize Ram's divinity so much. The Ram is a person who faces adversities and he does the right thing even in the face of adversities. Okay, right? Yes, please. We have 2 more questions. We'll finish with that.
Only one question. We have Aarti after that.
Okay, Aarti is going to start now. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I have one doubt on this choice and consequences. So basically you are saying like when we make any choices, so at the back end of the mind we have think about the consequences, like whatever choices we made, there is some consequences. So shouldn't we surrender it to Krishna? Like why we overthink on this? Like I want to understand this part because I face during this application, like so I want to understand this part. Like should I overthink on my choices and or
Well,
should
if
I
you use the word
surrender to Krishna?
overthink, we should not overthink, but that does not mean we shouldn't think.
Yeah.
And the whole point is that it's like depending on Krishna, Krishna is not just out there, Krishna is in here. Krishna also says, Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi. So depending on Krishna also means using the intelligence that Krishna has given us. If I think it is my intelligence and become proud of it, that's different. But if I see the intelligence is a resource that Krishna has given me, then using the intelligence is my responsibility. Arjuna surrendered to Krishna, said, Karishye Vachanam Tava. But Arjuna did not say, Krishna, you are God, you only kill those Kauravas. Arjuna took his bow and was ready to fight. So generally, in this world, God does not take center stage. This is the world where God allows us humans to take center stage. But we need to take center stage in a way that is in harmony with God's will. So yes, should we consider what choices will lead to what consequences? Of course we should consider. Otherwise, what is the point of Krishna giving any scripture? Krishna basically scripture that telling us do this, don't do this. Now there are some situations where the choices are moral. Some places the choices are just logistical. It's not a moral element over there. Should I take this job or should I take that job? No, should I buy a home over here or there? But these choices also have results. And we need to use our intelligence to make such choices. So it's using our intelligence is not acting independent of Krishna. It is depending on Krishna by using the resources that he has given us. Okay? Thank you very much. We'll stop here?
I think we can take later.
Sure. So thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki,
Jai.
Thai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. So we will have next class at 1:15. So we have Aarti here itself. So we have Aarti, or if somebody want to get fresh, please feel free to use. And if you have any question, Prabhuji is here. I think now or later you can ask. That's the time to ask. Okay? So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Very nice lecture. That's nice to see you again. I saw you here at the old temple probably like 2 years ago when I was still in school. So it's very nice to have your association again.
What is your name?
I'm Bhakta Sam.
Sam. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What are you doing currently, Sam?
Now I work in telecom and I work at a jewelry store. I do telecom research for my dad. He owns a telecommunications consulting firm. And then I work for a jeweler. Just helping him around the shop. He's real sick, so I just do like cleaning, organizing, things like this.
Whatever is necessary. Whatever is necessary, you do that.
What else? Yeah.
What is required, yeah.
So yeah, I like it. But I'll be back. I'm gonna go see my Shiksha Guru while he's around.
Sure.
So thank you. Hare Krishna.
When do you
1:15, 1:30 का बैच?
table outside. There is a book table.
Already?
Yeah.
We keep it here only?
Yeah, you can give here.
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pachatya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitya